Beneath the calm, sun-drenched surface of the Red Sea, nestled along the coast of Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, lies a place of both breathtaking beauty and profound danger. This is Dahab, a former Bedouin fishing village that has transformed into a global hub for diving enthusiasts. Its name in Arabic means gold, a fitting tribute to the gilded sands that meet the brilliant azure waters of the Gulf of Aqaba. The waters here are legendary, teeming with vibrant coral gardens and an astonishing diversity of marine life. For most, this is a paradise. But just a few kilometers north of the town's gentle bustle, the seafloor opens up into a chasm that has become one of diving's most infamous landmarks. It is a geological marvel known as the Blue Hole, a submarine sinkhole, a sheer-walled cavity in the reef that plunges over 300 feet, or 100 meters, straight down into the ocean floor. From above, it appears as a perfect deep blue circle, a stark contrast to the lighter turquoise of the surrounding lagoon. Divers from around the world are drawn to its sapphire depths, mesmerized by the silent, weightless world it offers. They come seeking adventure, to test their limits against one of nature's most alluring and unforgiving challenges. Its reputation is dual-sided, a coin with one face showing unparalleled underwater splendor, and the other a grim reminder of human fragility in the face of the ocean's immense power. Over the years, the Blue Hole has claimed an estimated 200 lives, though the true number is likely higher. These makeshift memorials, etched with names and dates, stand as a somber testament to its perils. It has earned a somber nickname, whispered with a mixture of reverence and fear in dive communities worldwide: the Diver's Cemetery. Our story begins with a sound that is intimately familiar to any diver. It is the rhythmic hiss of a regulator delivering precious air, followed by the slow, deliberate exhale of bubbles rising toward a distant, sunlit surface. At first, the camera shows a world of vibrant color and life. But as the diver sinks deeper, the light begins to change, the brilliant colors of the reef fading into a deep, monochromatic blue. This was the final dive of Yuri Lipsky, a 22-year-old Russian-Israeli man with a deep passion for the underwater world. He was a certified advanced open water diver, but like many before him, he was captivated by a challenge that lay far beyond the limits of his training. He had come to Dahab with a singular, ambitious goal in mind: to film his solo descent and passage through the legendary Arch of the Blue Hole. This natural tunnel, whose entrance begins at a staggering depth of 184 feet, connects the sinkhole to the open sea. It is a technical dive, one that requires specialized training, gas mixtures, and equipment that Yuri did not possess. What followed was not a triumphant journey, but a descent into confusion and tragedy. Deep below the surface, Yuri's camera would capture one of the most haunting videos ever recorded. The camera kept rolling as he sank past 90 meters, far deeper than any recreational diver should ever go on compressed air. It documented, in stark first-person reality, the insidious effects of nitrogen narcosis and the final fatal moments of a young man lost to the abyss. This footage, recovered from the seafloor, would forever serve as a stark educational tool and a tragic reminder of the unforgiving nature of the Diver's Cemetery. Yuri Lipsky was, by all accounts, a young man captivated by the allure of the underwater world. Born in Odessa, Ukraine, the 22-year-old had traded the familiar landscapes of the city for the boundless blue of the sea. Beneath the waves, he discovered a profound sense of freedom and wonder. It was a silent, weightless kingdom where the pressures of the surface world simply dissolved. For Yuri, this wasn't just an escape, it was a calling. Diving was not just a hobby for him, it was a passion that quickly came to define his life and his ambitions. Every dive was meticulously logged, a testament to his dedication and a map of his journey deeper into the sport. This passion had led him to become a certified diving instructor, allowing him to share his love for the ocean with others. He found joy in introducing newcomers to the vibrant life just below the surface. But Yuri was not content to simply float among the shallow coral gardens. His gaze was always drawn to the deep blue, the mysterious drop-offs that hinted at a more challenging, more profound experience. He quickly progressed through his recreational certifications: open water, advanced, rescue diver, each one taking him a little deeper and pushing his boundaries a little further. But these were stepping stones. The world of technical diving, with its specialized equipment and extended depth limits, was the ultimate goal. Friends described Yuri as confident, perhaps to a fault. He possessed the fearlessness of youth, an unwavering self-assurance that bordered on invincibility. This was coupled with a belief that with enough determination and training, any obstacle could be overcome, any depth could be reached. This ambition is what ultimately drew him to Dahab, Egypt, a place that held the key to one of diving's most formidable and legendary challenges. The small town of Dahab, nestled on the coast of the Sinai Peninsula, is a world away from the bustling tourist hubs of Sharm el-Sheikh. It's a place where the rugged, arid mountains of the desert meet the brilliant turquoise of the Red Sea. It has a laid-back, bohemian atmosphere that has long attracted travelers, adventurers, and divers seeking a more authentic and relaxed experience. Here, time seems to slow down, measured by the rising and setting of the sun over the water. But above all else, Dahab is a mecca for divers. Its shores are lined with dive centers, and the air is filled with the familiar clank of tanks and the hiss of regulators. The Red Sea is renowned for having some of the most spectacular diving on the planet. The water is exceptionally clear, with visibility often exceeding 30 meters, and the conditions are typically calm, making it accessible year-round. Intricate coral reefs form vast underwater cities inhabited by thousands of species of fish, from vibrant clownfish to majestic Napoleon wrasse and elusive moray eels. It's a paradise for underwater photographers and marine life enthusiasts. While the majority of dive operations in Dahab prioritize safety and professionalism, the town's independent spirit also fosters a culture where some divers push the limits, sometimes with a riskier solo approach to the sport. Just a few kilometers north of Dahab lies the most famous and infamous dive site in the region, the Blue Hole. From the air, it appears as a perfect dark blue circle carved into the shallow reef table, a stark anomaly against the lighter turquoise waters. It is a submarine sinkhole, a collapsed cast cave that drops almost vertically to a depth of over 100 meters, or 328 feet. Looking down from the surface, it's like staring into a bottomless blue-black abyss. But the site's most legendary feature is not its depth, but the arch. At a depth of 56 meters, or 184 feet, a massive underwater tunnel cuts through the reef wall. This 26-meter-long passage connects the inside of the Blue Hole to the open sea, its exit framed by the brilliant blue of the outer reef. For many divers, it represents the ultimate test of skill and nerve. But the arch is a deadly siren. Its entrance lies far beyond safe recreational limits for a diver on standard compressed air. At this depth, the immense pressure triggers a severe form of nitrogen narcosis. It's a disorienting, intoxicating effect, often described as the martini effect, where every 10 meters of depth is like drinking one martini on an empty stomach. At the arch, a diver would be experiencing the equivalent of 5 or 6 martinis, impairing judgment, motor skills, and rational thought when they are needed most. This deadly combination of extreme depth, nitrogen narcosis, and the deceptive allure of the arch has claimed the lives of an estimated 130 to 200 divers over the years, earning the Blue Hole its chilling moniker, the Diver's Cemetery. Yuri Lipsky knew these stories. He had heard the warnings and read the accounts. He knew the risks. But like so many ambitious divers before him, he was drawn to the challenge, believing he had the skill, the confidence, and the will to succeed where others had failed. He believed he would be different. The primary danger of a dive like Yuri's isn't a monster lurking in the depths, but an invisible, insidious force: pressure. As a diver descends, the surrounding water exerts immense force, compressing the air they breathe. This is where the physics of diving becomes a matter of life and death. The air in a standard scuba tank is about 79% nitrogen. On the surface, it's harmless, but deep underwater, the increased partial pressure transforms this inert gas into a potent narcotic. This phenomenon, known as nitrogen narcosis, is often called the martini effect. For every 10 meters a diver descends, it's like drinking one martini on an empty stomach. At the depths Yuri was targeting, the impairment can be profound, leading to euphoria, impaired judgment, and a dangerous sense of invincibility. Yuri Lipsky was a certified open-water scuba instructor, a qualification that speaks to his competence in teaching recreational diving. However, that certification is for guiding and training others within strict recreational limits, typically no deeper than 40 meters or 130 feet. It is a credential that proves mastery of fundamental skills, not a license to explore the extreme frontiers of the underwater world. This distinction is critical. Being an expert in one context does not automatically confer expertise in another, far more demanding one. The arch of the blue hole begins at 56 meters, a depth squarely in the realm of technical diving. This is a discipline that requires extensive specialized training, meticulous planning, and advanced equipment far beyond the scope of recreational scuba. To manage the severe risks of narcosis at such depths, technical divers learn to use specialized gas mixtures, like trimix. This blend replaces a significant portion of the intoxicating nitrogen with helium, a gas that doesn't have the same narcotic effect under pressure. This simple change allows a diver to maintain clarity of thought when it matters most. Yuri planned this dive on a single tank of standard compressed air. This decision alone exponentially increased his risk of severe debilitating narcosis. He was choosing to face a complex technical challenge with the most basic recreational equipment, a gamble against the unyielding laws of physics. Compounding the risk, he chose to dive alone. The buddy system is a cornerstone of scuba safety, providing a crucial layer of redundancy and immediate assistance in an emergency. Going solo removed that critical safety net, leaving him utterly isolated and vulnerable to any problem that might arise. The morning of April 28, 2000, dawned bright and clear over Dahab. The Red Sea was placid, its surface like glass. For Yuri Lipsky, it was the day he had been waiting for, the culmination of his ambition. As he made his way to the blue hole that morning, those who saw him noted his calm demeanor. He felt anticipation, not fear. In his mind, this wasn't a reckless act, but a defining moment. He believed this goal would validate his skills and define him as a diver of exceptional ability. He had his helmet-mounted camera ready, not just as a tool, but as a witness. It was there to document the triumph he was so sure would unfold. He took a deep breath, the familiar hiss of his regulator filling the air. He stepped into the calm blue water. The initial moments of Yuri's dive, as captured by his camera, are deceptively calm. The footage shows a controlled descent, his movements measured as he follows the reef wall down into the abyss. The world is bright, colorful, and full of life. As he passes the 30-meter mark, the recreational limit, the light begins to change perceptibly. Colors are absorbed by the water, leaving a world of deepening blues and shadows. For Yuri, this was merely a milestone on his way down, a point on the map to his final destination. At a depth of 56 meters, after just a few minutes of descent, Yuri arrives at the entrance to the arch. This is the moment of truth, the threshold he came to cross. This is his last chance to turn back, to ascend to safety. But the allure of the arch, combined with the powerful, overconfidence-inducing effects of narcosis, is too strong. The gas he is breathing is actively encouraging him to make the wrong choice. He kicks his fins and propels himself forward, crossing the threshold from the sunlit reef into the mouth of the legendary underwater tunnel. The floor of the arch slopes downward, a deceptive ramp that lures him even deeper. He is now well past 60 meters, descending into a place where every meter dramatically increases the danger. In his profoundly narcotic state, Yuri seems to lose his sense of direction and his dive plan. The footage, once steady, becomes more erratic. He is no longer exploring. he is disoriented. Instead of maintaining neutral buoyancy and swimming straight through the 100-foot-long tunnel to the open sea, he appears to be descending further along the sloping floor of the arch. He is no longer in control of his dive profile. He is sinking, and with every passing second, he is moving further from his intended path and closer to the point of no return. Inside the arch, the camera shifts from controlled exploration to growing confusion. Yuri's movements become less purposeful. The camera swings erratically, suggesting disorientation. He seems to search for the exit. Panic sets in, a diver's worst enemy. Adrenaline compounds the narcosis, a deadly cycle. His air consumption skyrockets. Footage shows him suspended in the water, frozen. This is likely the moment he realizes the gravity. Too late. He has lost control of his buoyancy. Gravity, amplified by the immense pressure, takes over, and he begins to sink uncontrollably. At approximately 91 meters, just shy of 300 feet, a final convulsive movement is seen. An uncontrolled spasm, as his body succumbs to pressure and toxic gas. His breathing stops. The rhythmic sound of the regulator falls silent. The camera, still on his helmet, continues its slow descent. It tumbles through the water, the beam cartwheeling through darkness. It finally rests on the sandy seabed at 115 meters, far below the arch he aimed to conquer. The light points upward like a solitary beacon, illuminating the stream of dissipating bubbles. A silent electronic tombstone for Yuri Lipsky. The camera keeps rolling for several minutes, until finally, they stop altogether. The tank is empty. The dive was over. 2 days after Yuri's descent, Tarek Omar, a local deep diving expert, prepared specialized equipment for a deep search. At 115 meters, far below the arch, Tarek's light beam caught something. It was the body of a diver. It was Yuri Lipsky. He also recovered the camera, a small piece of electronics holding answers. The family, hoping to prevent such a tragedy from happening again, made the difficult decision to release the video. The footage quickly found its way onto the internet. The global diving community watched in stunned silence. Expert divers and instructors began to dissect the footage frame by frame. They used it as a powerful, if gruesome, teaching tool. The video became a mandatory viewing in some technical diving courses, a visceral lesson on the importance of proper training, gas planning, and respecting one's limits. Yuri's story became a somber reminder that the ocean is impartial and unforgiving. The rules of physics are absolute. Yuri's final dive became a grim reminder of how quickly curiosity can turn to tragedy beneath the waves. His story is a permanent inscription in the history of exploration, a final poignant dedication.